Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Song Out of Space. So in the last episode we actually finished the game. Yeah, it was that short, even I was surprised. But I thought that, you know what, let's play this game again, and this time from the perspective of Catherine Armstrong. But before that, I also want to see that what would happen if we actually break this tape. It's a shame that I saved the game after we killed a forester, because I also wanted to try and help him get through this alive. But what can you do? What is done is done. So let's break this. You snapped the tape in two and ripped its contents. And when you did, you felt somehow relieved. Of course you didn't know at that point, but that decision was a mistake. What? That was also a mistake? Why was that a mistake? The end. Okay, so there's multiple endings here. Yeah, we know. Okay, I was not expecting it also to be a mistake. I mean, we did keep a tape last time, didn't we? So both keeping the tape and breaking it is a mistake, apparently. If only I knew why. Well, anyway, now that that's been done, let's start a new game. The game is better played in a dark room. Well, it is quite dark here now. Work of fiction, yada yada yada. FBI headquarters, 1971, December 4th. Okay, we're gonna play as Catherine Armstrong this time. Catherine has excellent detective and forensic skills, but the rampant sexism of the 60s will make it harder for her to be taken seriously as a federal agent. Alright, let's play as Catherine. That morning, your boss at the FBI, Arthur McConnelly, asks you to go to his office. Ah, you're finally here, Catherine. Mr. Ross and I have been waiting for you for a while. Just where the hell is the coffee that I ordered? Sorry, I forgot. I'm not a waitress, or even a secretary. Heh, you are damn right you aren't. You're a federal agent. That's more like it. And if you want to keep the job, you better follow my requests as if they are coming from the president himself. Jesus, what a dick. Now, just shut up and listen. You may learn something from Agent Ross. I hope you appreciate the chance I'm giving you to learn from one of the best vets around, Catherine. Maybe you're putting too much faith on me. I might be rusty. Nonsense. We need more men like you if we want to beat those damn commies. The whole deal with the Ruskies started to go to hell when we caught them red-handed, building nuclear silos in Cuba. Where the hell do they take off? That's right in our own backyard. And instead of fighting them, we had to negotiate to make them back down. Ridiculous. There was no other way to avoid war. Our politicians were too weak. Now I kinda wish that I would have said this. Our politicians were too weak as to Ross, so I could have said this as Catherine, but well, let's kiss his ass at least a little bit and say that our politicians were too weak. See, Ross, even a woman gets it. Yes, our leaders are cowards and the commies know it. Now they'll think that they can threaten us to get whatever they want. Fortunately, I'm not the only one on the Bureau that thinks we have been underestimating the Red Menace. That's why you are here. Take a look at these pictures. Okay. The pictures aren't very nice. Well, that's to put it lightly. The bodies are bloody and lack any trace of skin. Whatever happened here, it was a real massacre. The bodies are not missing any chunks of flesh, such as from bites or claw marks. You mean claw marks. Singular. That disregards an animal attack. It's some kind of building with a big antenna array. Perhaps a radio station? The skin has been removed, carefully enough to leave the flesh and eyes intact. This must have taken hours, so the intention was not just killing, this was way more sadistic. I think I think I have seen enough. Lovely, isn't it? These people were murdered. Well, you don't say. I find that hard to believe, Kathy. Only a wild animal can do something that vicious. The pictures are from an astronomical observatory in Gardner, a small town in the state of Washington. This morning the sheriff found this desecration. 12 bodies slaughtered and one of the researchers is still missing. We don't know who did this, or why. So what were they researching? Nothing with any military purpose for all we know. The observatory was doing a routine deep space data gathering for the Washington State University. Let me tell you, nothing good can come out of an obsession with outer space. Still, those folks didn't deserve to die like that. And the photos were of a radio station. Yes, from what I have heard, they don't use telescopes. They seem to analyze radio signals from space, or something like that. Nothing worth dying for, not like this at least. And who is the missing scientist? We don't know much, other than his name, Nicholas Forrester, a young PhD physics graduate, no criminal record. He and the rest were hired by the Washington State University a few months ago. So what do you want us to do? It's simple. I want you to go and make sure that there is nothing on this case that involves the Ruskies. Normally we wouldn't send federal agents, but the town is a few miles away from the Fairchild Air Force Base, which has a lot of things that the commies would like to take a look at. This doesn't look like their job. Well, I understand, we'll go immediately. Just drive there and let Agent Ross do his job. You might even learn something. Okay, let's go. You and your partner walked to the FBI's parking lot and took the black Cadillac that had been assigned to you. You drove the car for several days, only stopping to sleep at motels whilst on the road. Every mile you drove away from the headquarters of the Bureau lifted an oppressive feeling off of your chest. Okay, so he's still driving. Overall, the state of Washington wasn't very welcoming, almost as if it was trying to warn you to stay away. Here, the sky is always cloudy, so it's almost impossible to see the stars. Why would those idiots build an observatory there? Well, they were not using a telescope, they are gathering signals from the space, so I guess it doesn't matter even if it is cloudy. Radio signals aren't blocked by clouds. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Oh, right, McConnelly mentioned that. I should have known he would remember. According to your file, you were top of your class in the academy. I'm surprised that someone as smart as you would end up being McConnelly's secretary. I'm an agent, not a secretary. Yeah, right, wrong choice of words, I guess. Let me ask you something, agent to agent. This whole thing about the missiles in Cuba, what do you really think? Should we have been more aggressive? I agree with what McConnelly said. I think we did just right. See, that's why the boss considers me a top field agent and you are just a rookie with an attitude problem. I wouldn't have answered that, I don't think. Okay, put the radio on. Hey, I'm going to turn on the radio. What kind of music do you like? I used to play the piano in college. Do they play Liszt's somewhere? Liszt? Is that a band or a certain musician or a type of music genre? I have never heard of that before. I have no idea what Liszt is. I used to play the piano in college. I'll see if I can find any piano music. That noise is disgusting. That's when you realized you were just about arriving at your destination. A town called Gardner, in Washington state. A bunch of nosy villagers watched closely as your car entered the small town. Let's look around. The town was not very big, but the streets were crowded. Everyone seemed peaceful and calm. All of them oblivious to the brutal crimes that had just occurred a few kilometers away. Exchange a few words. Looking at this place, it's hard to imagine that people were brutally killed nearby. It's unlikely that such a sadistic killer would live in a small, peaceful town like this, don't you think? Actual research shows the opposite. Well, I guess that living in a place where nothing interesting ever happens can make you snap. Alright, well, let's step out of the car. As soon as you step out of the car, a young man ran towards you. Black suits, driving a black Cadillac. Are you FBI, CIA, or maybe another more shady organization? We are from the FBI, yes? No comments? Are you with the press? Well, I like to consider myself more of an independent investigator than a journalist. Let me say, my self-published magazine, the 14 Report, has a small but very engaged community of readers. And they will want to know why you are here. It's because of the murders at the station, isn't it? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Well, maybe it is. The sheriff has not let the press on the site yet. Is it true that one of the astronomers is still missing? Do you have any clue of his whereabouts? We just got here and have no details yet. I can't confirm or deny anything. But the readers deserve to know the truth. What readers, Daniel? That weirdo friend of yours was the only one who ever read your stupid flying saucer fanzine. And look what he ended up doing. You don't know for sure that Nicholas was the killer? What I know is that I can get you arrested for obstruction of justice. Now scram. Yeah, that's better. I'm sorry that creep bothered you, folks. I'm glad you came, Sheriff. You were a bit rude, Sheriff. Well, I'm glad you came. Or, what did I say last time? I'm glad you came, or you were a bit rude. I don't remember. Well, let's just say that you were a bit rude. Sheriff? No. Oh, wait, never mind. It doesn't matter. I said both those things last time because the game froze this one time and I had to reboot it. So I tried both options and he says the same thing, so never mind. Sheriff? No. I'm just a lackey. The sheriff is my boss. I'm Albert Crane, the deputy. Nice to meet you. I take it you are the vet we have been waiting for, right? They told us you were coming a couple of hours ago. But I didn't expect to see a woman. I'm Agent Armstrong, FBI. And I didn't expect to see a monkey. Okay. Should we say this? Yeah, let's just see his reaction. Hey, what's your mouth, missus? I'm Agent Stuart Ross, and this is my partner, Agent Armstrong. To be honest, I'm not really sure why they sent you. The sheriff and I have already identified the killer. It may take some time, but he will be found and brought to justice. I guess you have made that long trip in vain. You know who did it? Yeah, well, it's not like we have any proof yet, but... It's obvious that the killer is the missing scientist. He went mad, murdered everyone, and then ran away. What do you know about him? His name is Nicholas Forrester. He also goes by Nico. He came to work here about a year ago. I didn't know him personally, but I have heard he was a bit of an oddball. Obsessed with UFOs. That son of a bitch. Yeah, how dare he like UFOs? Only he could have done it. And who was that reporter that spoke to us? Danny Brown, a reporter? Ha, what a joke. Reporter is a word way too big for what that clown does. He likes to say that he runs a magazine, but really all he writes is a bunch of nonsense about UFOs that nobody reads. It's nuts, I know. He was friends with the killer, but I don't think he's involved at all with the murders. I have known Daniel since high school. He doesn't have the balls to hurt anybody, and much less to do something as inhuman as this. He's just a laughingstock of the town. Well, what can you tell me about the said town? You know, just a typical place. We are pretty close to a military base, so all this is restricted airspace. There's no planes flying over us. That's why the astronomy station was placed here. Other than that, it's just a town full of good people. And how has the town reacted to all of this? Well, this is a small town, so news spreads quickly. But I think most people don't realize how horrible the whole show was. The saddest part is that one of the dead scientists was just married to the mayor's daughter, Carrie. Poor girl. But I guess it means she's game. Where's the sheriff? He's waiting for you at the crime scene. He didn't want to leave, just in case the culprit came back. Criminals always come back to the scene of the crime, did you know that? Well, I am an FBI agent. I can bring you to him if you want. We still have more questions. Actually, we asked all of them, I believe. Yes, please, bring us to the sheriff. It's a couple of miles from here. Get in my car and I'll drive you there. Hey George, the feds are here. The sheriff seemed nervous. He quickly tossed his cigarette and walked towards you. I'm George Berry, the sheriff of Gardner. And you are? Agent Ross, and she's my partner, Agent Armstrong. I would say that I'm pleased to meet you, but the circumstances are quite grim. You'll find a crime scene inside the station, with the bodies and everything. So what is this place? A research station of some kind, I don't know. There hadn't been any problems with it until now. But I'm sure that in the future this town will be more wary about accepting foreigners. Maybe it's better if you see it with your own eyes. Afterwards I'll answer any more questions you have. Just let me warn you, it isn't a nice sight. So, maybe the lady wants to wait outside? What, you don't enter? Oh no, we go first. Without a word, you rush towards the metal door. Let's look around again first. The place was an old army radar station, which had later been repurposed to gather radio signals from space. The military design was still evident though. It was high in the mountains, so the air was cold, perhaps too cold for this time of year. Okay, let's go. As soon as you opened the door, you regretted it instantly. A flow of foul, rotten air invaded the whole place. You covered your mouth with one hand, trying desperately to control the sudden urge to vomit, and then you stepped inside. The interior was as welcoming as promised. It was hard just to breathe among the smell of half-rotting corpses. As you step in, your shoe touches something on the ground, a mutilated arm. Just one of the dozens of human remains scattered all over the place. This is insane. Whoever did this must have spent hours cutting and dismembering. There doesn't seem to be any pattern or method. Whoever did this just killed at random. Okay, let's look around. Over a table full of computer controls, there was the main event, the whole circus of horror. A small and bloody human torso, the skin had been removed, the legs butchered, the eyes had been pulled out and were lying close to the head. The body had been covered by a pile of human ears. You counted them. 24. That makes 12 people. Oh God. The small frame implies that it's a woman. I think she was butchered with some kind of heavy item. Possibly with that axe over there. I hope she was already dead when all this happened. Oh no, she wasn't. There was an axe on the table, and it was bloody. There were small chunks of flesh all over the edge of its head, and on the handle too. All these dismemberments suggest that it must have been done with a heavy-edged weapon. Have you seen this axe? What do you think? Is that what the murderer used to kill all these people? Yes, that seems quite reasonable. It's too soon to reach any conclusion. Well, that seems quite reasonable. That's what I thought too, but... Do you think that maybe someone staged all this? You know, to make us dismiss the investigation as just the work of an insane killer. Do you have eyes? This is insane. What, like the Russians? Yeah, well, maybe. Do you have eyes? Look around. So we already checked this, right? Yeah. And here? There was a group of mutilated corpses lying on the ground. Arms and legs had been chopped off with blatant disregard. Some bodies had been decapitated too. The sheriff showed his face through the door. We haven't found all the heads yet. Ross walked towards the remains and flipped one of the heads over with his foot. This one has no ears. And that one neither. I think all of them. All their ears have been ripped off. About that, maybe you should check the body on the table. Well, we did that already. Well, let's talk to Ross. You look pale. Haven't you seen corpses before? Yes, but nothing like this. Make sure it's you who doesn't puke. Well, yes, but nothing like this. You'll get used to it. Oh, really? You see stuff like this all the time? Jesus. Okay, well, let's check this one more time. Yeah, nothing new. Okay, do we just leave? I guess you understand the situation better now. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer. When were they seen alive for the last time? When did you find them? Know anything about the missing scientists? Well, let's ask all of this. I mean, I think we can. I think we could ask all of this. Were all the scientists from out of town? Well, yeah, let's start with this. Yes, and they didn't really talk much with the people in town, to be honest. Well, except one of them, of course, William Kowalski. He was married to Carrie, the mayor's daughter. It caused quite a lot of gossip at first. I heard she's taking the news pretty badly. Oh, you don't say. She refuses to talk to anyone. Kinda normal, though. She just lost her husband. Yeah, exactly. Even he gets it. Yeah, and from what I have heard, they had just found out she was pregnant. It's a damn shame. Damn shame indeed. When were they seen alive for the last time? That's the strangest part. I visited them that afternoon and everything seemed normal. Who could have imagined that they would be like this on the morning? When did you find them? In the morning, around 9 AM. You see, I'm friends with Carrie's family. She was married to William Kowalski, one of the scientists working here. She told me that her husband hadn't come home last night, so I wanted to check if he was actually working. She thought he was having an affair. Know anything about the missing scientist? His name is Nicholas Forrester, but everybody calls him Nico. An unremarkable guy, fresh out of college. Not the sanest fellow, that one. Always talking about UFOs and government conspiracies. Sounds like Mulder. But we never thought he would come to this. He hasn't been seen since we found the bodies. We think he ran away to the woods. Tch, the sick bastard. I hope beasts find him and make him pay for what he has done. It will still be merciful compared to what I would do to that fucker if I got my hands on him. Why aren't you searching for him? Well, there's only the sheriff and the deputy, I think. Did we? I think we said this last time. So why aren't you searching for him? Have you seen the size of the woods here? We are surrounded by miles and miles of trees. And we are only 2 people. Yeah, I thought so. We don't have the manpower to handle a search of such magnitude. If it was a missing kid or something, we could ask the collaboration from the townsfolk, but to catch a murderer... That's when Ross came out of the station. He was holding something in his hands. I found these. You think they might be useful? Yes, the tapes. Cassette tapes. The labels on them are dated, so these must be some kind of audio logs for the station. Let me check the one from the night of the murder. So you have noticed it too, right? The recording from the night the murders happened is missing. Yeah, well, whatever. That detail doesn't change the bigger picture, does it? Most likely the murderer took it with him, to cover his tracks. Yeah? Then why didn't he hide the bodies? Folks? It's getting pretty late, so I'm going to lock the gate until the doctor arrives tomorrow and disposes of the bodies. The last thing we want is animals having a feast with the deceased. And I'm sure you are pretty tired, so Albert can drive you back to your hotel, if that's okay. Sure, I would love to take a shower. Okay, let's go. You headed to the deputy's car, who drove you back to your hotel in town. After checking in at the hotel, you went straight to your room. Hey, it's me, Ross. Can you talk? Sure, I'll unlock the door. Okay, so McConnelly won't call her. He only calls Ross. Thanks, sorry to bother you this late. But I have to call McConnelly soon, and I would like to make sure I haven't missed anything. Especially regarding your opinion about the possible links between these murders and Russian ops. It's a strong possibility. We don't know enough to be sure. It's unlikely they were involved. Yeah, we don't know enough to be sure. Yeah, right. So, there was one of the scientists who had a funny last name. You mean Kowalski? It does sound quite Russian, that's true. You know, the one who was married to a girl from town? Yes, Kowalski. What was it? Kowalski, that's it. William Kowalski. Sounds Eastern European, doesn't it? Maybe Polish or even Russian? What do you mean? That's stupid. You want to start with a witch hunt? And besides, Kowalski died along with the 11 others, right? So it cannot be him. That's just a name, it means nothing. Worth investigating further? What do you mean? Well, I don't know, but there has to be something. What do you think McConnelly will do when we tell him that a small nerdy scientist dismembered all his co-workers with an axe because he suddenly went mad? You know what he'll do? He'll call us back immediately, then demote me and fire you, and send more people. So what do you propose? We shouldn't send him false reports. Then we need to solve the case quickly. Yes, exactly. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll call him and tell him that this might have been the Russians, and I'll drop that Polish name or whatever, so he thinks that we are into something. And we keep doing that until we find the killer, the missing tape, or whatever is necessary to not look like clowns when we report it was just a false alarm. How does that sound, huh? I'm not sure. It doesn't matter if you are sure or not. It's the only thing we can do right now. Okay, fair enough. There's a potential killer on the loose, and we are playing politics instead of going after him. Well, there's not really much else that we can do at this point, so yeah, let's just go to sleep. It hasn't been an easy day. Perhaps I should get some rest. You barely got any sleep. Strange nightmares kept on haunting you whenever you closed your eyes. So we see the same dream. When the sun finally rose, you had a quick breakfast and headed down to the reception area. And now Ross is not here. We were supposed to meet here. I guess it was too much to expect him to be on time. And I'm gonna end this episode here now, just like last time when I played this for the first time, because I think that this is a good place to stop. And so far this doesn't feel too different from Ross's playthrough. We got some unique dialogue options here and there for Catherine Armstrong, but that's really it. So far it feels very much the same, but I'm expecting this story to become much more different from Ross's playthrough in the next episode. I'm expecting that we go and talk to Kowalski's widow as Catherine, and while Ross goes to talk to Daniel and also make that phone call to his friend. That's how I am expecting the next episode to differ from the last one. But we'll see. So, until then. Thank you for watching once again, and see you next time for more The Song Out of Space.